What's up, y'all? This NBA season, every shot you take with FANATICS Sportsbook puts points on the board. Earn up to 10% fan cash on your bets, win or lose. So even if your bet misses, you're still scoring fan cash. Unlock the world of FANATICS with FanCash for exclusive rewards like authentic apparel, game tickets, and meeting legends at FANATICS events. Make the switch and turn every bet into a bucket with FANATICS Sportsbook. Winning hits different here.
Welcome to, there he is, the Knicks Film School Postgame Show presented by our friends at FANATICS Sportsbook, where we are here to talk about a thrilling, we're going to be telling our grandkids about this one. 119-104 win against the Charlotte Hornets, who, in the words of Jeff Johnson, stink. I'm here with Benjy Ritholtz. Hi, Benjy. How you doing?
Yeah, I'm great. I'm happy they won the game. I'm happy I'm not watching the game any longer. Yeah, let's break it down. All the fascinating elements of it.
We're going to get deep into the X's and O's of this one. Boy, we're going to X and O our way right into, I don't know, somewhere, nowhere good. Thankfully not into into a Hornets like space or wherever they talk about this team. How painful must it be to have to watch? I know there are some people that love watching LaMelo Ball play basketball and think that is like why people watch the sport. If I had to root for him night after night after night, I just don't think I'd be able to do it. That's me.
Yeah, that fourth quarter was perhaps the most unserious stretch of basketball I've ever watched from a single player who suddenly became a Harlem Globetrotter for the last 5 minutes down 20. And I don't think I've ever really seen anything quite like it. So crazy talent, made a lot of those shots. That's cool. Maybe it's a matter of just putting it all together, but there is something fundamentally unsound about his approach.
Yeah. Well, we'll leave that for Hornets podcast to deal with. Let's talk about the Knicks, because last night was, as is often the case, I think last night, as is often the case with any loss, since the team has kind of gone all in a year and a half ago, certainly dispiriting in some corners of the internet. You, as you often do, were a little bit more measured in your response. I feel like I kind of almost want to pick your brain about last night more than tonight, but we'll save that for X's and O's because we're going to be doing X's and O's tomorrow. So I'll get to ask all kinds of questions then. Let's talk about this game, because I thought it was an interesting game from the perspective of they had one thing that was clearly working, and you were saying it all night. You must have said it 24 times. And that thing that was working was Karl-Anthony Towns. And I'll save my big picture conspiracy theory John comment for after you talk about the actual basketball. But give me your thoughts about Karl-Anthony Towns tonight.
Yeah, they have no matchup for him whatsoever, and they don't have like the schematic discipline to guard him well. Like, it takes a body that can kind of deal with his physicality, and then B, you have to know how to guard him. And we saw talk about a contrast of two nights. Not that Cat didn't score against Boston, but everything was really hard. And It's because of their schematic discipline. It's because they know how to guard him, what you can give him and what you cannot give him. And the Hornets have none of that. They don't have the bodies and they don't have the schematic discipline. So to me, at times during the game, it's actually frustrating that they didn't he had to touch the ball every possession. Whether he was passing or scoring, it was basically an automatic bucket every time he touched the ball.
Yeah.
If there's a big kind of like a big picture takeaway I'd like to take from this game, it's I would like the Knicks offense to recognize when that's the case more often. And that really falls on Jalen Brunson more than anybody else, because there were moments in this game and stretches in this game where he was dribbling around a lot when all it took was dumping the ball into Towns at the elbow or in the post, either or direct him to get there if he's not there. So I'd like to see a little bit more of that. But yeah, Cat was absolutely unstoppable. They had no answer for him, and I just want to see them feed him more consistently when the matchup dictates it, and that would be a nice adjustment for this team.
Yeah, and I think we I don't ever say we. I take for granted that there are a lot of matchups out there where Cat actually can make hay. Like, you don't go out and play the Magic and the Pistons and the Celtics every night. I understand that's who we judge ourselves against now that the Knicks are in the business of trying to win a championship. But like, every game matters. And I guess I'm curious to hear you, just like before we completely move on from Cat to go with other things. Like, how much does a night like tonight have relevance for you moving forward against some of those like bigger teams? Or is it just like, it's the Hornets, you got to do what you got to do against the Hornets?
A little bit of both. The good teams are going to have just more discipline and know how to guard him better, but Cat scores against everybody. Cat isn't a player who you can totally shut down. You rarely see that. I mean, even against Boston last night, he did a
good statistical game.
Whether you liked how he played or not, he's a tough cover, man, no matter who you are. I think, look, elbow touches, I think they've been good all year. When they get him that ball at the elbow and they kind of then run into their split cuts and three guys kind of converge together at the elbow and then they spread in their different directions, I think that stuff's been good for them all year, and they don't do it enough. And then if the cuts are all covered, the worst case scenario is you end up in a DHO with Brunson or with McBride or whoever, and that's a good scenario to be in. So I think you can channel a lot of this stuff against even the best competition, but it's just about finding the right balance of your offense and like which sets to go to. And I do think they can lean more into Cat as a hub at the elbows, because I feel like it's been working a lot this year, and sometimes they just go away from it.
Yeah, and I guess that's kind of where I was, because we saw him do it the whole night, and the whole night it was very effective. And then you see there are other games where it seems like they don't go to it at all, and it kind of reminded me, or it has reminded me at times of last season, where because of the matchups, like maybe the Brunson Cat pick and roll wasn't as effective as it was early in the year. But that doesn't mean, as you talked about ad nauseum, that doesn't mean you go away from it entirely. It means you adjust or whatever. So this to me kind of falls in the same vein. And it's interesting. I'm happy you talked about Brunson, because now Brunson's coming off of probably his two worst consecutive games in terms of two shooting games as a Knick, and got off to a bit of a rough start in this one. I think he was 3 for 9. Well, he was 3 for 9, and then he hit that shot at the end of the first half.
Big shot.
It was a big shot. It was a big shot in the moment. It got him maybe going a little bit. He had a good second half. I am always just kind of wondering, and you've talked about this, is Brunson does he not have that extra playmaking? I don't know if it's a gear, if it's an instinct, what it is, but you watch him sometimes and you're like, man, tonight's the night to do more of that. And then you don't see it as much as you would like to.
Yeah, I do think there's something to that. And it's just the way he's wired and how he plays. And he is who he is sort of because of it. And, you don't. But I always believe that a player can kind of channel or reallocate some of his play. And it just takes the message being sent, however much is being sent. And I do think they can still get there. I have faith in it. Like one thing I was thinking about as I'm watching this and is there really are very few NBA stars now, offensive stars, who don't initiate offense.
Offensive stars who don't initiate offense.
Like that has kind of become a rare thing. Like,
are you talking about like Clay? Like prime Clay? Like that
you can look back at post players in the 90s or in the 2000s.
Oh, sure. Yeah.
Most guys now who are the best offense players in the league have the ball in their hands all the time.
I mean, even Embiid was initiating when he was.
Embiid certainly more than Cat. Giannis certainly is basically their point guard at times. All the big wings, even the bigs now. Wemby, you go down the line. A lot of these guys take up the ball. Yeah. Cat is a rare breed at this point of a guy who is a non-ball handling offensive star, and it's complicated when. How do you get that guy involved? Like this used to be a big question. Teams of old, in terms of like how often do you go to the post? If you have, how often do you run pick and roll? Like when you usually had teams built around a post player and a point guard, it's not the way the league is anymore. Your best offensive player has the ball now almost all the time. And Cat, because he's not that guy, and because he's playing with someone who is that guy, it is a complicated push and pull that I think they are still figuring out. But look, it didn't matter tonight, and it's still working to a large extent. The offense has been excellent all year, but it's just something to monitor as we go forward. Like how comfortable are they? Is Cat involved enough on a night-to-night basis? Just something to kind of look out for.
I'll save the Giannis question for before I get you out of here. I do want to just briefly touch on the defense, because it was something that again was a running theme tonight. What was the line? The hook pass to the corner.
Hook pass to the weak side corner. I think the Hornets made it 11 times in the game. It is available if you want it. It is, and this is funny. It's a funny thing because it was a problem under Tibbs and it has not changed. It's just if your philosophy is take away the paint and you're crashing down off the weak side and your ball pressure isn't that good, so that the is that the problem? Is the combination of the ball pressure with the crashing? And it's ball pressure in two ways, right? Like you could take it away from behind if you're the one navigating the screen, or you could take it away as the big if you're in good positioning, if you're up enough on the screen.
That's not
so because Cat is often not that way, and he's back and his arms are often down, and because frankly the Knicks don't have a lot of very good screen navigators, and they're crashing down off the weak side hard, it's just available. And I'll add one more factor is that a lot of the guys on the floor right now are small, which makes cross-court passing easier just because there's small guys out there. So all of that combined, but it's in the scout now, man. You take 2 dribbles to your right off a pick and roll. You don't even have to look. You can just freaking sling that thing to the weak side corner and it's there. And it's a big problem because they're giving up too many threes and teams are shooting well against them. And until they fix that, there's a really kind of a low ceiling on how good this defense can get. They're giving up too many of those valuable shots.
Could we add the caveat without OG Anunoby?
For sure.
Okay.
He helps in all ways defensively.
Yes. I always like to throw that in there. I guess we got some encouraging news before the game about OG. He's taking contact. I think that's what it was. I would not bet my mortgage on him playing in this NBA Cup next week. I hope I'm wrong. I really do. It would be cool if he played and they did something in the Cup, but whatever. Yeah, I don't know what else. I mean, what else is there you want to touch on from the basketball? I mean, the bench got better as the game went on, but they scored 12 points one night after they scored 10 points.
Yeah, Clarkson can't make a corner three. It's a big problem. He's got to make corner threes, and he's almost passing them up now into those meandering drives that can be successful, but it's not really good offense. No. They need him to make shots. He was 3 for 9 tonight. Yabu gets benched in the second half. That's a story. I mean, that matters, especially when you're down Mitch. So you're down a center. You're down your biggest wing. Huckporty gave them good active minutes in the second half, even though he fouled out. I thought that was you can foul out all you want when you're a backup big. That's fine. You got to give me the positive parts of the activity, and he did. He blocked a bunch of shots. So he was, I thought, a positive in the second half. Kolek was okay most of the night. Still got to make more shots, but he was okay.
In moments.
But the bench is not good right now. Just especially you're down Shamet and you're down OG and you're down Mitch. The back end right now is not very good, and Yabu is becoming like a concerning story. I still maintain there's been some progress this season over the course of it, but it started in a very bad place. So even slow progress, I feel like the coach is kind of losing patience, and that is not a good thing for a signing that was supposed to be a very important one for this team.
Yeah, and again, just like OG is going to help the defense a lot, like OG makes a lot of these depth problems not go away, but he certainly minimizes them if you get another, like your most.
Yes, but it's an 82-game season. Someone else is going to go down.
Yeah, that's
you need back-end bench guys to be able to step in and do their jobs, and I don't know if the Knicks have that, and that's a problem.
Well, I don't know what else there was to say about this game. So I'm just
look. It was a game where the Knicks, you could kind of sense it. Second night of back-to-back against a terrible team. Yes. They knew how much energy they had to expend to maintain a 10-point lead,
and they expended exactly that amount of energy. That's right. Like, and they focused. They focused for just the right amount of time. It was the Hornets are really a mess, and it was not a hard game to win if you just put in, let's say, 30 out of 48 really focused minutes. And they did. I completely agree with you, but what I don't want to hear is people saying that, and look, I get it. If people are going to say this, and I understand why, that that this win doesn't matter, or just wins of this nature don't matter. Again, look around the league. Any given night, literally any night, you look up at the scoreboard and, oh, look, Cleveland losing at home to Portland. Much like the Knicks, Cleveland is down bodies. Well, guess what? Didn't Charlotte just beat Orlando in overtime or something? Maybe not Orlando. They just beat somebody in overtime a few games ago. they did beat someone. I forget who. The Clippers, who stink, came into Atlanta and beat them tonight. Orlando lost to the Spurs without Wemby and Castle, but the Spurs have been playing really well. Like, again, it's just the point is that every night
win the game. You got to win the game.
You got to win the game. And look, the Knicks are 14-7, and if they keep on that pace all year, they'll be in a very good shot by the end of the season. I will say they have played 21 games. 12 of the 21 games have been at home. So they have played a lot of games at home. And that will come around at some point, which will be tough, but hopefully they're healthier by then.
Sorry, they beat Toronto in overtime, and before that they beat the Bulls. They won 2 in a row just a bit ago. So you get there's NBA talent on the roster. They get going, they get confidence. You never know. So it's important. I said this after the first Charlotte game. It is important in the NBA, especially in the regular season, to have a high floor. The playoffs is about having a high ceiling, but a lot of the regular season is just about having a high enough floor where you can rattle off wins. And they do. They have a high floor. They know how to scratch out, however difficult it is. And this wasn't all that difficult, frankly. They have a way of winning these games. They rarely lose to the bad teams, and that's important to get to where you want to get to in the standings. Simple as that.
And speaking of things that raise your ceiling, we'll talk about this more tomorrow. But there's 2 Giannis stories, because one, his team, his people, his cohort, dropped the note today to Mr. Sharanya and said, okay, it's almost time. And we didn't really get any reporting other than that, just that there's going to be conversations or whatever. And then a few hours later, Giannis goes down with a non-contact injury that the Bucks are calling a sprain. The Bucks, if anybody's wondering, are engaged in this might be a tie game. It's literally the final minute of the the Bucks are up 1 on the Pistons with a minute 21 to go and fighting like hell to try to win this game. Which, again, what does that tell you about the state of their team right now? That Giannis goes down very early in that game, and the Bucks are putting forth maybe their most spirited effort in a long time. What does that tell you? That should tell you probably something. I don't know what.
Ewing theory?
Or it's a team of guys that are sick of the bullshit and
that
just
could be. It's hard to know. I'm not following them on a day-to-day basis, but
I'm not either.
Detroit plays a lot of these close games. They seem to win all of them, so I wouldn't be surprised they pull this one out also.
Well, they probably will. But the point is that Giannis, we'll see if he's going to be all right. I hope he's all right, just because he's a great player, and you don't want any player to go down with an injury. But where are you at? And again, we keep this brief, and then I'll get you out of here. In terms of, are you at if the Knicks could get Giannis at any cost? Are you at I don't think they have a shot in hell at getting Giannis this season? Are you on the fence? Do you want to see what the specific deal is? I mean, just give me your general lay of the land here.
I think I am pretty close to if you actually have a path to get this guy, you go get him.
Okay.
Considering it's not like they're sacrificing the future. The future is already sacrificed. You don't have any draft picks. So if you can, that's why it's hard to pull this off. If you can somehow pull this off, to me, Giannis puts you on a different stratosphere as your best player than Jalen Brunson, who I love, who is awesome, who is a franchise savior no matter what happens for the next 5-6 years. But I think it's fair to say that Jalen Brunson would be one of the worst best players on a championship team in NBA history. And that is not a slight at Jalen Brunson at all. But it is true.
He's in if we could just it's an easy list. Depending on how you feel about Chauncey Billups or Rasheed Wallace.
It's that Pistons team.
It's the Sonics team.
79 Sonics.
79
right?
Sonics. The Bullets team that won, although they had Wes Unseld.
Wes Unseld was quite
MVP. Good. It's a short list.
We've seen, and Brunson comes with complications. He is not a perfect player. And Giannis has done it already. He's still great. So to me, it's like you can get one of those guys. Again, it's not like the Knicks it's not a draft picks calculation. Now, there's a point at which you got the roster to the point where like you can't win anyway. But to me, if you can maintain a core of one of the two of Bridges and OG.
So that's really what it comes down to. Let's just say there was a world where you keep, let's just say Bridges for argument's sake.
Yeah.
And you keep Hart and Brunson and obviously you add Giannis, and then you get some of what the Bucks have now. Let's say you get Turner along with Giannis, and then you get some, like you get a Kuzma, a Gary Trent
whatever
Jr.
it is, and you add that to the iffy depth you have already, and it might not be, you might need another year to kind of craft the right bench around it if you do it now.
Yeah.
But to me, I think so. And it's not that it's without. There's complications with the fit, even with Giannis. And how do you fill the 5 spot? Because Giannis doesn't want to play full-time 5. And like you are losing spacing. And if you're holding on to Mitch, like a Mitch and Giannis, like how does that work? But to me, like these are all like, even if it's not this year and you have to sort out the roster the way you want it by next year, that's fine. But it's Giannis. It's Giannis. And he's one of the best players in the world. And it's hard for me, especially when there's not like 10 years of draft compensation involved to get too caught up with this roster as it is. So yeah, that's the camp I'm in. What about you?
I'm with you. I think if you can get him, you get him. If you're Leon Rose and you genuinely believe that the team you have right now has I don't know what percentage chance you would have to assign to it. 10% chance to win a title, 15% chance to win a title. Maybe you stick with it. If you're Leon Rose, I don't know that you should have a number in your mind that's that high. I'll be called a hater for that. I'll be called pessimistic. I'll be whatever names you want to call me. I've been called them all before. It's fine. I think you get the guy, and then because he is not whatever age LeBron was when he went to the Lakers, or what age Kevin Durant was when he went to the Houston Rockets, or even when Kevin Durant went to the Phoenix Suns, frankly, his 31st birthday is in a week. So that gives you a runway of another 3-4 years. Brunson's, what is he, 30? So around there.
Yep. He's just about 30. Yeah.
McCall's young, Hart, but
you have a three-year window.
So, you try to nail another couple of transaction cycles. You have a bunch of second round picks. You try to just get some people in your system. You get maybe a ring chaser here or a ring chaser there. You fill in the gaps. It doesn't mean you have to win it this year. I just don't know how you credibly look at that guy and say, no, you know what? It's too much. We're good here. They just don't have, they're not, I was going to say the Thunder. Obviously they're not the Thunder. They're, I don't even know what the comp would be, okay. I'll give you the comp. They're not like the Celtics of a couple of years ago, where we remember those like Jaylen Brown versus Kawhi discussions, and even those were
Kawhi, Jaylen Brown for Durant.
Yeah. Remember all those? And it's like, okay, but Jaylen Brown is exactly the player you want in the league today, where the league is headed.
And Jaylen Brown's 24,
and he was 23 or 24 at the time, and look, did it pay? We go back and forth about how well it paid off. Also, the Celtics team is not done yet. Jaylen Brown certainly doesn't think they're done. I can tell you that much. So I don't know. My point is, it's not that situation. It's a little bit different from that.
No, and you're getting a little older, but not much older. You're not really changing your timeline. So it's, you're not changing your future because your draft picks are what they are, and you're not changing your timeline. So if anything, you're extending your timeline, because this cat, I don't want to go on a whole thing, and I promise I'll let you go for this. This cat extension, the cat situation, it's they're staring down the barrel of this thing, because he was eligible this past summer, and apparently they didn't talk at all. And I know Bondi just got a little interview with Cat, and Cat's like, no, I want to be here. I'm fine with it. This whole thing. Okay, great. Wait, come talk to me this summer. When Leon's like, you know what? We're still going to wait a little while. How's that going to go? I want to hear that conversation. 100%. Yeah.
Anyway.
And then it becomes kind of like the Randall situation, and then it becomes the guy that he traded him for.
Yes. And you know what? There might not be a Cat for whatever trade.
Randall.
Let's trade it back to Minnesota. There you go. Benji, you're the best, man. I love watching these games with you. I always learn so many things, and I always get entertained along the way. Your disdain for what we watched in the fourth quarter really just gives me life.
Let the TikTokers have him.
That was the best line. I'll give Jeff the best line of the night with the Green Goblin line, but it was like a 1A and a 1B.
Oh man! When Jeff said, had he made that step back after 14 dribbles through his legs on Clarkson, you should have seen the next shot he was going to take. That was good stuff. It's good stuff.
It's all great. You're great. I am going to talk to you tomorrow night for the weekly
Looking forward to it, man. We'll break it down. Join us back tomorrow night, everybody. We're going to have a good time.
Must be 21 or older. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. Connecticut, call 888-789-7777. Massachusetts, call 800-327-5050. New York, call 877-8-HOPE-NY. Maryland, visit mdgamblinghelp.org. Not available in all states. Terms apply. See the Fanatics Sportsbook app.